You're watching the Community MMA.
Khamzat Chimaev continues to remain without an opponent, right? I mean, the guy's been waiting and waiting and waiting. He can't seem to get an opponent. I mean, nobody wants to fight him. You look at the welterweight division, we're waiting on Colby Covington. That seems like it's never going to happen. I mean, how long are we supposed to wait on Colby Covington? Middleweight division, nobody wants to fight him, so he's calling out Alex Pereira. So he's an unranked fighter trying to fight for the middleweight title because nobody wants to fight him, right? So what's he supposed to do? They're saying, oh, he's not worthy, he's not ranked in the middleweight division. But when nobody wants to fight you, that's a problem. So what does he have left? Oh, Gilbert Burns rematch. Who cares? That's just more waste of time like the Kevin Holland fight or the Nate Diaz fight. Middleweight division, maybe eventually you get a Robert Whittaker or a Paulo Costa. But all these guys at the top of the division, remember when I told you when Khamzat was coming up, he was fighting like every week, right? I think he fought back-to-back like in a 10-day span, then won 3 times over several weeks. Those days are over when you get in the top 10 because these guys don't want to fight but once every 6 to 8 months. So what are you supposed to do? You don't really have anything you can do. You're just on hold constantly. You're waiting on Colby Covington. You're liable to be waiting to hear. Colby will wait until his ranking is going to get stripped before he's forced to fight again. And if I'm Khamzat, I'm not even fighting welterweight again until I get a title shot. That's just the bottom line. So you got Khamzat continuing to wait. He's just playing the waiting game forever, it seems like. I mean, forever. Now, as we get into some of the ranking stuff, let's stop it right here on the do list. You got Khamzat Chimaev, number 1 still. Waiting. Number 2, Islam Makhachev is going to fight Volkanovski at UFC 284. That's a big deal. Conor McGregor holding at 3, but how long can we keep him there? This is something we talk about all the time. We need a fight from him in the next 6 months. Colby Covington at 4, which is why the Khamzat fight would be great. Colby, one of my favorite guys. Yuri Prochazka's out for a while. Number 7, you got Adesanya on hold. Hopefully getting a rematch. Sterling at number 8. He's the champion of the bantamweight. Charles Oliveira, we'll see if he can get back to the top. Not likely as long as Islam is there. And then Sean O'Malley getting ready to fight Sterling for the title. That's an 8 versus 10 matchup on the do list. So we're starting to get to the point on the do list where some of our favorite fighters are fighting each other. You know, and we got to pick one. Like I'm going with O'Malley over Sterling. I'm sorry. I'm going with Islam over Alexander Volkanovski for sure. So that's just the way that this thing goes. Now, UFC 2022 is complete, right? It's the year of the contenders, the year of the underdogs. We've seen titles switch hands in multiple divisions. And of course, as time goes on and we get closer to the end of the year, we're going to do a full recap of this year, including like Leon Edwards' win over Kamaru Usman, Islam Makhachev's win over Charles Oliveira, right? Aljamain Sterling's win over Petr Yan, Yuri Prochazka's win over Glover Teixeira in a now vacant light heavyweight division. By the way, UFC 283, you have Glover Teixeira take on Jamal Hill for the vacant title. So there's a lot to discuss from 2022. 2023 is already shaping up to be an incredible year with big title fights already scheduled through March, including a trip to Australia in February. Think about that. The pound for pound best fighter in the world, Volkanovski, gets to fight at home. And if he wins that, he's the GOAT. Because I don't think anyone believes he's beaten Islam Makhachev. It don't matter if the fight's in Australia or wherever, even though Australia is the best possibility for Volkanovski. So 2023 is shaping up to be a big year, but we want to get back into all of the big reactions from 2022. So we'll have that in a separate podcast here in about a week or so. So stay tuned for that. No fighting for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we're on hold. That's a good thing. That's an absolute good thing because we need a break and we need to get ahead on the predictions as we jump into the Q&A. A lot of it on Khamzat Chimaev. Homework saying, I absolutely love Khamzat, but worst part is nobody wants to fight him. And all his fights take so long to be booked. If we don't get Colby, title shot, or Bilal, simple as that. Yeah, we're probably not getting Colby. So it should just be a title. And if you're the UFC, just give this guy a title shot out of the sheer fact that nobody will fight him. John Locke. For me, it depends which Khamzat comes out. The one who is intent on wrestling or the one who gets into a war with Dorino Burns and arguably drops 2 rounds. People keep talking about a Burns rematch. I just don't see it. Why? Kenneth Bruner, multiple divisions, welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, are terrified of Khamzat. No doubt. Khamzat is being iced out by everyone. They need to step in and make the Pereira fight happen. That's what I say too. The fact that every division is terrified of this guy should let you know, forget the rankings, give him a title shot. Arisandi, I love Khamzat, but he is too confident to say that fight mean exercise. Still, he has some bursts from Gilbert Burns, right? Khamzat good, but doesn't mean untouchable. And I disagree. And of course, you're going to get replies when someone goes up against Khamzat. EP Man saying if rematch happens, Khamzat going to beat Burns easily. He was worried about Burns' jiu-jitsu last time. First time he has been worried about his opponent's skill. And he continues on. I don't understand what he's saying, but yeah, I get it. And he shouldn't have been terrified at Burns' grappling or jiu-jitsu. Who cares? Khamzat's way better. Arisandi returns. Okay, let's see the second chance. So let's see what happens when they fight again, is what he's saying. But, quite honestly, I don't think it really matters. I think Khamzat wipes the floor with whoever he fights. It's just tougher at welterweight because he's got to squeeze down so much weight, right? He's got to cut weight. He's probably perfect at 185, really skinny at 170, and dominant at 205 pounds. That will come later, right after he gets 2 titles. This is nothing new. We've been saying this for 3 years now. And 3 years later, we still don't even have a title shot.